I know we're here today to honor those who have gone on their spiritual quest, but I want to talk today about the emotion of joy. In order to do that, I need to talk about back then. Back then just sounds to me like a cross between Texas hospitality and good old Southern hospitality. By the way, I have two roommates on today's list. Bet you're thinking right now, I'm glad I wasn't one of her roommates. Then I thought, hey, wait a minute, I'm a part of that equation. Back then in 1963, 54 years ago, we arrived at TWU by scattered means with bags, boxes, fears, and tears. But 67 was ready to go. Everyone appeared eager to learn the campus, the traditions, and to be on our own as a university woman. It was a period of immeasurable joy for us. Our momentum was unstoppable back then and still is evidenced today. I believe that it's safe to use the term God within this group, but in order to be politically correct, I'm going to use soul keeper. Back then, all those scattering bunch of freshmen milling around became the basis of our college life and the evolution of our joy. What a wonderful time it was. Wonderful friends evolved as we prepared for our careers. I thank Soul Keeper for taking care of us back then and now. I ask that Soul Keeper bless those we pay tribute to today, their family and friends, for love is immortal, and so is the joy of knowing a friend. God bless 67, those who walk amongst us, and our sweet, sweet angels, whose halos might just occasionally have a 67 rotate around its glow.
Let us pray. God of love and giver of life, we're here to celebrate 5 decades of life in the real world. Excuse me. 10 years ago, the class of 1967 left the friendly confines of Texas Women's University on a journey full of victories, sorrows, joys, and precious memories. We didn't learn everything we needed to know about life during those precious years at TWU, as we're still students in the School of Life. And we thank you for each other, for what we've learned and what we're learning from those of us that are present today, what we're learning from our children, and what we're learning from our grandchildren. In deep gratitude that stretches back through the years, we remember the friendships forged during our years at TWU. We give thanks for devoted family who nurtured us. We give thanks for administrators, professors, and mentors whose generosity nurtured us as we grew. We rekindle old friendships, and we are tenderly mindful of friends and classmates who are no longer on earth with us. May our time together be joy-filled as we share memories of days gone by, together. As we share stories of the journeys that we have taken, may our time and the news that we are be a time of joy and a time that will bring delight and goodwill. Lord, we give thanks and we celebrate the lessons learned so long ago in the classrooms and in the extracurricular activities of the university. but also for the human life skills that we learned in our friendships, in teamwork, and in musical and dramatical presentations. We give thanks for the classmates whose inspiration, hard work, planning, who've made this weekend possible. Just as our long-ago graduation was a commencement and not an end, this rite of passage today is another new beginning. Bless this reunion time. May these moments together lead us to treasure ever more fully each beat of our heart and every new life that life brings us. Amen. The time of life is ripe for looking back over the days, the weeks, the years, and contemplating where we've come from and where we're going. For sifting through the things that we've done and things that we've left undone. There's a need from time to time to enter that still room within us where the past lives on as a part of the present, where the dead are alive again, where we are most alive ourselves, to turnings into where our journeys have brought us. The name of the room is Remember. The room where, with patience, with charity, with clarity, with quietness of heart, we remember consciously to reflect on the lives we've lived and those of our classmates who've gone on before us.
In the rising of the sun and in its going down, in the blowing of the wind and in the winter chill of winter, we remember. In the opening of the red buds and the rebirth of spring, and in the blueness of the sky and the warmth of summer, we remember. In the rustling of leaves and the beauty of autumn, and in the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember. When we are weary and in need of strength, when we are lost and sick at heart, when we have joys we yearn to share, we remember. Yes, we remember and will carry the memories of our classmates with us throughout all of the celebrations during this reunion time and beyond.
We remember Pearl Thomas Aitken, Carolyn Elizabeth Allen, Duran Burnell Jones Alvarez,
Mary Joyce Snap Baker, Donna Lee Davis Ballantyne,
Nancy Annette Barkley, Mary Beth Mullen Barton, Gloria Lamar Puig Bazan,
Patricia Ann Thornton Beatty, Doris Ann Flippo Belcher, Judith Ann Goins Bell Kratotsky,
Marjorie Louise Bender, Linda Darlene Berkeley, Genova Anita Tolbert Blacksher,
Helen Neal Blakeney, Susan Mary Houston Cannon, Linda Louise Whitaker Carter,
Adelia Perez Cedillo, Amelia Martinek Chambers, Diana Mirta Owen Cleveland,
Doreen Marie Martin Davis, Malvern Noreen Davis, Elizabeth Reynolds Davis,
Virginia May Doffert, Olga Dominguez, Mary Lee Douthat,
Janet Gay Barkley Elkins, Johnny Gwendolyn Dodd Elliott, Anne Marie Enriquez,
Norma Faye Anderson Flanagan, Margaret Lynn Kimmery Ford, Brenda Ruth Fisher Freeman,
Dorothy Alice Terrell Garcia, Maria Graciela Garcia Garcia, Mary Inez Lovelace Gibbs,
Mary Martha Gill, Judith Marie Kuhn Goldsmith, Kay Lynn Westmoreland Green,
Joanne Greenwood, Alma Edison Garcia Grubbs, Mary Lee Hurd,
Virginia Lee Scott Hedges, Diana Evelyn Gwen Houston, Sally Pearl Hill,
Doris Lee Riley Hoffpower, Mary Lou Brooks Howell, Nola Granger Hutton,
Mildred Mills Jones, Susan Ann Brimberry Katzberg, Shirley Rue Knape,
Ida Larenbaum Lansky, Maureen Doris King Leander, Jean Marine Rust Long,
Myrene Pearl Lovelace, Sharon Louise Hazelwood Lunsford, Karen Elizabeth Hardy McRaney,
Ruth Smith Medeiros, Geraldine Reynolds Miller, Eunice Burnett Washington Murphy,
Sylvia Margarita Calzado Murphy, Naomi Villarreal Rodriguez Norris, Marcia Yvonne Madden Onstadt,
Wanda Jean Embry Perkins, Rebecca Ann Adams Peterson, Sharon Rose Castile Rainey,
Sharon Ann Rao, Frances Radford Ray, Rebecca Ann Morris Robertson,
Kathleen Soms Sasha, Catherine Sands, Eulalia Leffert Schulmolder,
Barbara Ann Sears, Terry Ruth Rosenberger Shell, Beverly Ann Shockley,
Martha Elizabeth Fish Shute, Virginia Louise Ratliff Schnecknick, Geraldine Eden Smith,
Georgine Leona Anderson Stacks, Trudy Faye Avo Stuber, Carol Louise Gibson Stockinger,
Jean Lena Bradshear Stovall, Mary Louise Van Nopen Taylor, Gabrielle Jane Kuhn Thompson,
Mary Louise Smith Tipton, Dorothy Mae Price Van Zant, Mildred Inez Myers Watts,
Harriet Lorene Coker Whitley, Nancy Ann Graves Wynn, Catherine Annette Portis Zach.
The little chapel in the woods, in and of itself, is an architectural gem which has been recognized many times over in its unique design and structure, especially in the light of the fact that it was designed and built in the 1930s by TWU students, all women at the time, under the direction of a group of art professors. The structure presented a personal and intimate atmosphere which was enhanced by its location. For years, it was isolated in the quiet simplicity of Lowry Woods, most of which no longer exist. The carving of the pews, the molding of the metal light fixtures were designed and crafted by the students and faculty. The collection of stained glass windows created by them is one of the most outstanding features of the chapel. The windows are beautiful works of art and illustrate the theme, woman ministering to human needs. The largest window, the motherhood window, located behind the altar, is symbolic not only of motherhood, but of the nurturing and care of humankind for which we are all responsible, regardless of our status maternally or biologically. The 8 windows along the sides depict the professions of nursing, social service, education, dance, literature, science, speech, and music. Our education within these professions provided us avenues by which we pursued our purpose, hopes, and dreams. Located near the entrance is an abstract of a rose, the flower which is significant for so many occasions, but it is especially meaningful and important to Tessie's. In the more than 75 years since it was built, the chapel has served not only as a place of meditation, but as a venue for concerts, lectures, initiations, weddings, memorial services, dramatic productions. To those who have attended TWU, however, the little chapel in the woods is much more than a beautiful and unique structure and a center of activity. It is a manifestation of the creativity and skill of all TWU students. But even more so, it is a reflection of our lives from the inception of the chapel in the 1930s to the present day. It has served as a vestibule in which there could be found inspiration and purpose, joy and comfort, solace and serenity, forgiveness, and resolutions for new beginnings. The chapel, in its structure and spirit, embodies the experiences of each of us who has attended TWU. Therefore, it is so fitting that it is this facility to which we have come this afternoon, where we can celebrate our spirituality, contemplate our lives, reflect, remember classmates of days long by, but also to nourish our dreams for the future.
We have come here today to commemorate our classmates who have gone before us. We give thanks for their lives, for the positive impact they have made in the world, and for the influence they wielded that touched and improved the lives of those with whom they lived and worked. We ask your blessings on their families and friends. 50 years ago, we stood at a beginning. Today, we see some of the fruits that have come from that beginning. However, our race is not yet finished. Help us to remember that we still have opportunities, that we can continue to be a positive influence on all those around us. We ask your blessings on this great institution that continues to educate and nourish students as we were educated and nourished. May it continue for many years to be a force for excellence. Extend your protection and blessing to us when this weekend is over and we travel back to our homes. We have reconnected with friends and classmates. Let these few days be a renewing and bonding experience for us. With praise and thanksgiving, we ask all these things in thy name. Amen.
The class of 1967, fondly referred to as the Golden Girls, are celebrating 50 years since graduating from our beloved alma mater.
54 years ago, the members of the class of 67 arrived at TWU excited to begin our adventures as college girls. Yes, we called ourselves girls. Betty Friedan's The Feminine Mystique was published in 1963, the year we arrived on campus. The National Organization for Women was founded in 1966, and after that we gradually began to recognize that we were women and not girls. But girls we were in 1963. Tonight we return as Golden Girls, little old ladies perhaps, but going and glowing and having fun because of the 4 years we spent at TWU, forging friendships that have lasted a lifetime and learning life lessons that influence who we are today. From TWU, we mastered our academic disciplines and launched our careers. Please join us for a slow and brief stroll down memory lane as we share our songs, our laughs, and our remembrances of life at TWU in the 1960s. Hip, hip, hooray! Speaking of hips, how many of you still have the 2 original hips with which you were born? In 1963, we arrived with skirts and roll-up sleeve blouses, brush hair rollers, and penny loafers. We came to TWU from all over the state of Texas, the country, and the world. We wore freshman beanies. Beanies were the signal that we were the new kids on the block. For some, the beanies were a signal to offer help. For others, it was a signal to make us the brunt of pranks. For example, giving us inaccurate directions so we would get lost on campus. I learned that lesson very well because I still get lost today. I am so thankful for GPS. You know what GPS stands for, don't you? God, please send me in the right direction.
We lived in freshman dorms on Dorm Road, and in Mary Hubbard, the co-op dorm. Every undergraduate under the age of 23 had to live in dormitories, unless married, or living with a parent or legal guardian. Our memories of those first few days on campus had to do with learning the rules and freshman orientation. We were pioneers, as evidenced by the pioneer woman. Speaking of breaking the rules, there was a huge scandal concerning the pioneer woman. a member or two of our class the next year painted a red letter A on it. That was taking Hawthorne's The Scarlet Letter a little too far. Our classmates didn't go very far from their dorm rooms for the entire rest of the semester. What do you call the engineer of a pie factory?
A pioneer.
We had to learn all the rules so we could figure out the best way to break them. No rollers in your hair outside the dorms. No pants or shorts on campus, except after dark, and then only between dorms and in PE and science labs. Many of us wore trench coats to cover our shorts or socks. Speaking of PE, we had to take 4 semesters of it. There was a code for it: HYPER, Health, Physical Education, and Recreation. Did you ever take a swimming class? The cotton knit swimsuits were provided. We believed that all male instructor teams ordered them because they were TWU's version of a wet t-shirt. And they were uniformly unflattering on everyone. Rule number 2. When you had a weekend date or leaving campus, you had to sign out of the dorm and then sign back in by 11 o'clock. Only one coat date during the week, and that meant a 30-minute date before 8 p.m. You could make it to the drugstore on the drag if you were lucky, but you could not get there and back because the sweet, sweet couple who ran it were older than we are now. So your order would not be out in 30 minutes. They were like watching Tim Conway in slow motion. Quiet hour began at 8 o'clock, and you were supposed to be in your room studying. Operative words:
Supposed to be.
Freshman orientation was a weekly semester-long credit course that taught us how to set a table, to wear a girdle, and how to write a check and how to behave like a lady. Dorm rooms were not air conditioned. Communal showers and bathrooms were a shock to many of us. And some of us, not so petite ones, shocked a few in those showers. The shower curtains kept sticking to our butts.
We had Saturday morning classes that were required. Some administrators decided never having air conditioning in the classroom would save money. Felt like volcano lava was running through the room, and that was not the kind of hot we liked. Sundays required heels, stockings, and white gloves to be worn to the dining hall, where President Gwynn greeted everyone. Sunday night dinners were sack lunches. The, quote, sandwiches were slapped together, bread of bologna and cheese, but never bologna and cheese together, or peanut butter without jelly. However, smoking in the dorms was permitted, and there were cigarette and Coke machines in the dorms. Anyone who violated the rules received a house counsel, which usually meant being confined to the dorm. If you did something really bad, you were sent to the dean of students. One of our classmates was sent to the dean of students. It wasn't that bad. The dean kept talking about the birds coming in the window, and our classmate said she looked and she didn't see them, but she was surely glad the dean did. The dean was not that nice to some of us, Thank goodness for Assistant Dean Ruth Crary and Registered Dean Francis Emerson, both of whom we loved.
We were welcomed and the lantern parade was led by the presidents of the Women's Recreation Association and the Campus Government Association and Fred Houston. In this song, we heard White Off.
Shine on, harvest moon, up in the sky. Why had no love since January, February, June, or July? So time, ain't no time to say adores its moon. So shine on, harvest moon, for me and my God.
In addition to our classes, we participated in the President's Picnic reception and events like corn husking, which was a big local competition among the dormitories. The local competition was mostly about singing, but there was hog calling and chicken calling. Just imagine what came from it. It took lots of practice, and winning was highly emphasized. There was also the Gold Rush Carnival that raised money for scholarships, fun, games, and a variety show. We read the student newspaper, the Daily Lesson, and the yearbook in the diary. As the sister spoon to the then all-male Texas A&M, the Aggie Yell leader came to teach us the Aggie fight song, and many of us can still sing it today.
Goodbye to Texas University, so long to the orange and the white. Song varsity's horns off, song varsity's horns off, song varsity's horns off, short!
As an odd-numbered class, we are helicopters. This tradition began in 1952 when the sophomore class won the Stunt Cup for their stunt entitled Something Fishy. They handed down the fish prop to the next even-numbered class as a sign of good luck. Not to be outdone, the odd-numbered class set out to steal the fish, and the competition continued until the early 1960s, when the rivalry intensified. The classes of 1963 and 1965 worked diligently to steal the fish. The class of 1962 put the fish on top of a flagpole that they had wired with electricity to keep it from being stolen. The class of 1963 raised money to rent a helicopter and flew over the flagpole to steal the fish. Stones were thrown at the helicopter and it had to retreat. Thus was born the helicopter classes.
Molly and her helicopter may not mean a hell of a lot. Molly and her helicopter may not mean a thing, but they had their fish, you see, wired with electricity. But it was burned in 62 because of 63. We figured it out. My damn, we figured it out.
When President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. None of us will ever forget where we were when we heard the news. Foreign students were afraid that the U.S. government would topple despite our shock exams. We reassured them and attended a memorial service for the fallen president in the main auditorium. It was a very somber time. With the beginning of the second semester, the annual class stunts were upon us. Stunts were the original 20-minute musical written and performed by the members of the class amid great secrecy. We were warned that the freshman class never won the cup. Nevertheless, we worked hard and produced a piece, which was a fickle king and a beheaded wife, based on Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn. The ghost of Anne St. Tree was an uninvited guest of the feast.
Underneath her arms she walks from mighty tower, with her hair tucked underneath her arm at the midnight hour. Woo!
Guess what? We won.
In 1964, President Lyndon Johnson introduced the war on poverty, and trouble escalated in Southeast Asia as the number of U.S. troops doubled and then tripled in Vietnam. The Beatles appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show, and we focused on those events, but also Self-Development Week with panels on manners make a lady and on makeup and hair. We were also elected student government officers, class beauties, best dressed, and we all were posture queen. The focus was on poise. Some of us still focus on poise today. At any rate, we'll go on from there. The First Lady of the United States, Lady Bird Johnson, was awarded an honorary doctorate of law degree that semester, only the fourth such degree ever awarded by the university. She would go on to receive many honorary degrees over her lifetime, but ours was the first that she received.
We sang popular songs such as
Living the life, oh no, me I don't know.
True Story. We love this great song, but we could not sing along because the words were not understandable. We thought we heard some obscene words in the lyrics. Well, we were in good company because the FBI could not understand them either. Part of the FBI's task was to fight obscenity, and they studied the song for 2 years. Then they realized the words were available in the U.S. Copyright Office. Nothing obscene in the song despite our hopes.
Sophomore year, 1964-65. Our sophomore year began with moving into Stoddard and Fitzgerald halls with our classmates or returning to the freshman dorms as counselors and RAs to guide and direct the newbies on campus. At last, we were no longer beanie-wearing freshmen. President LBJ signed the Civil Rights Act that summer. TWU added the Masters of Nursing degree, and Dr. Pauline Berry Mack continued her work to develop food for the astronaut program, including the creation of Tang, the beverage mix that went into orbit. New PhDs were added in radiation biology and radiation chemistry. Our nursing majors left campus for the medical centers in Dallas and Houston. Johanna Leister was selected Aggie Sweetheart, and we were so proud of her. The autumn was filled with classes, many of us taking a first course in our majors. We visited Fortman's bookstore and shopped at Miss Henley's dress shop. We had a dorm mother named Miss Bell. There's a story about her that we call Bats in the Belfry. Miss Bell locked all of us in Stoddard one day because someone stole the sign-out book. Not that we had that many dates, she said, but it was the principle of the thing. What was she thinking, locking all of us in there with her?
It was also the time for pledging one of the 7 literary social clubs. These were not sororities, but we still had Pledge Week and many embarrassing moments as pledges performed for their sisters and engaged in goofy antics. Many of us made the trip to Dallas to attend the State Fair musical, and there were dances at nearby military bases, and we were bused to the bases to enjoy the dances and the boys.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Cora. Cora, who? Cora here. We're off to tour again and again. Class of 4 leaders, a vocal ensemble of 14 Sebastians. We can't hear you. Oh, an accompanist and the director, Dr. Everly, were chosen to embark on a USO tour of Greenland, Iceland, Labrador, and Newfoundland to entertain military personnel, many of whom had not seen women in 6 months. In 1965 began the Civil Rights March across the South. The Gemini program launched both manned and unmanned space flights. The war in Vietnam continued to escalate. Then it was time to work again on stunts. Our class was determined to repeat the win again and take on the stunt cup. Our presentation, As the Clock Strikes, was the story of dolls coming to life. Some of the dollies included Raggedy Ann and Andy, Jack in the Box, Madam Alexander, and the Cat.
Hello, dollies, well, hello, dollies, it's so nice to get down off the shelf once more. It's looking swell, dollies, you can tell. Dollies, let's get going, let's get growing, let's get going strong.
Among the toys, Lily Dashay was a beautiful ballerina. That's me. And really me, in a beautiful box. That gave birth to the mimicking of the Chat Kathy doll. What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? When Lily came out, the male dolls gasped and sang, "Oh, you beautiful doll," leaving the other girl dolls jealous. The girls also sang about Lily Dashay, the beautiful doll, but they had a different reaction to her.
You must have been a beautiful tree trunk before you were a beautiful doll. Lil, I bet your rosy cheeks look much better in a paint can. Your glossy looks must come straight from a bottle. Before you were a beautiful doll. Lil, I bet you were a great 2x4.
As the boy and girl toys battled each other, tension subsided when Lily and the musical tenor sax doll were married by the captain, pronouncing them guy and doll. And the mighty 67 won again! Warmer weather turned us into sun-worshipping goddesses as we sat on the roofs and courtyards of our dorms. Cigarettes and cold drinks in the dorms. Now, sunny, healthy, or what? Our music was the Beatles, the Supremes, and their song.
Stop in the name of love.
We went to the town square to the movies to see The Sound of Music. We were back in the groove with spring elections, and the modern choir left on its spring tour. We enjoyed the Red Bud Festival, and there were campouts with the WRA, Women's Recreation Association, and studying for exams again.
Our junior year, 1965 and 66. As we returned to campus in the fall of 65, the first Project Head Start grants were given with the aim of helping disadvantaged children catch up as they entered elementary school. Most juniors lived in Smith Carroll with Mrs. Wagner, who joined us as a first-time dorm mother. Some of us continued to live in Mary Hufford. Now we were class leaders with more responsibilities for campus governance, but also with the focus on our major courses as we prepared for our careers. Some of our classmates would drive into Dallas County to buy alcohol. At that time, lamination was a thing of the future and driver's licenses were made of paper. It was easy to doctor them to reflect that one was 21 years old. Despite the police raids of gay bars in Dallas and Fort Worth, one of our classmates decided to find out what it was all about and went to the gay bar in Fort Worth. Sure enough, the bar was raided and she was put in the paddy wagon. Not wanting to be identified or to have a criminal record, she actually ate her license on the way to jail. Considering the recent ruling from the Supreme Court, I think we've come a long way, baby.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Sarah.
Sarah who?
Serenaders who are fantastic at tooting their own horns around the world.
In November, the Serenaders, the TWU all-girl stage band, departed for a USO tour in France and Germany. We will never forget Malvern Davis and her alto sax.
Students continue to frequent the pub in the basement of the Student Union, where we enjoyed cheese sandwiches for a quarter and Cokes for a nickel. We love the campus drugstore and Sandy's with their 10-cent hamburgers. The spring of 1966 began with Simon and Garfunkel's Sound of Silence as the #1 on the Billboard chart. Cigarettes now had to carry a health warning on each pack. Once again, our thoughts turned to stunts and how we were going to repeat our win. If the class won 3 consecutive times, the stunt cup was retired.
Rev,
rev, rev your blades, here we go again. This is just another year, we are going to win. Most of us think our junior stunt was the best ever. Dutch fantasy. The costumes were wonderful and we sang Tiptoe Through the Tulips. And happy are we.
Happy are we in the small Dutch village, we'll sing and dance till the sun goes down. Windmills are turning to do the millage, tulips are growing all around. Stone streets flutter as we're dancing, wooden shoes like a steady beat. Toes tap, everyone is dancing, following their dancing feet.
A sorceress casts a spell over the women of the village who began to verbally attack their husbands for being lazy. After the men left, the women changed their tune.
Won't you come home? Won't you come home? We miss you all day long. My husband, won't you please come home?
Triumph again. The class of 1967 was on a roll, and we won and retired the Stunt Cup with our 3rd win. The first class to do so since 1960.
The spring of 1966 had great music. These boots were made for Walking Bunnies from Sinatra, Yellow Submarine by the Beatles, and Monday Monday by the Mamas and Papas. Rachel and Rex continued the Monkeys debuted on BBC television, and Hanoi insisted
Boisterous, but loud enough to be heard. With an L, with an L, with an L-A-D, with an I, with an I, with an I-E-S, L-A-D-I-E-S. Fight furiously, ladies!
Last song. The words are on the screen.
1, 9, 6, 7, can't go wrong, sing our song. Tennessee stand and sing the 67. Sing our praises, shout unto the heavens. We will have our fun and troubles, but never fear, 'cause we'll come through. Rock, rock, rock. And then we'll sing to you again. All you copters fly high, shout the praises of the 967, the greatest class there is alive.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Ben.
Ben who?
Been fantastic to see everyone, but now it's time to go.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Anne.
And who?
And so the end is near.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Carrie.
Carrie who?
Carry on and take care till we meet again.